welcome to a very special episode of Blake Takes. It's not a food show per se tonight, but we're going to make it a little foodie at the end. But I couldn't let this opportunity pass without introducing you to Dan Cameron. Dan Cameron is the creator and curator of Prospect One. And I guess first, just Dan, tell us a little bit about who you are and who are you?
Well, I'm a curator. That's my job. I put together exhibitions, and my special interest is art from around the world, like global contemporary art from every continent. Really, I like the idea that art is a world production, that everywhere around the world people make art.
Right. So how perfect. This is New Orleans. We have all kinds of different culture here.
You bet. It's really the perfect place for what we're doing.
Nice. So speaking of what you're doing, it's called Prospect One. And so tell the people a little bit about that.
Well, it's an international art biennial. And a biennial is a show that happens every 2 years. Generally, it takes about 1 year to plan and a year to implement. So it's not an annual thing. It'll actually happen every other year from now on, we hope. And it's going to open in New Orleans with about 81 artists from all around the world. It'll open on Halloween weekend and run right through January 18th.
Okay.
It's about 20 venues all around the city.
Okay.
And the whole exhibition is free. So if you think you might be interested in contemporary art, but you're not sure, we make it really easy for you to sample all the art that's going to be on view.
So before we talk a little bit about New Orleans, let's talk about the exhibit itself. How will people experience it and sort of, inject themselves into the whole process?
Well, there's the way that the visitors from out of town are going to experience it, and that's through the map. We're trying to map the city in a way that shows people where they are, not just in relationship to our venues, but in relationship to all kinds of cultural landmarks and institutions around the city. So we want people to take their time to not just see the show, but to also go to places uptown in CBD and the Marigny, the Bywater, the French Quarter, wherever the exhibition is. You should linger and appreciate the neighborhood that you are. How New Orleanians experience the show is going to be a little different because you'll have time. You can go to your favorite spots 5 times. You can see one thing for 5 minutes and decide you never want to go there again. You can keep going back over and over again with your friends, with your family. So we want to develop a lot of new art lovers.
Right.
People that didn't know they loved art, and then they saw Prospect One and they got hooked.
Well, I've said since Katrina that the best way for viewers, anyone, to help New Orleans, giving money is great. But we want people to come here and experience the city, go eat a meal here, go buy something here that's local. So let's just make a recommendation. How long should we want people to plan to come and see this thing. How long should they plan to sort of come down and, how many days should they spend here?
I think it's going to take, if you're really, really rushing things, 2 full days to see the show. But the civilized way to see it is to take 3 and 4 days. Because, it's not just our exhibition. There's a lot of exhibitions happening around town at the same time. We're trying to market them and promote them as well. So we think if people have 3 or 4 days to see Prospect One, well, why don't you take a day or 2 more and see what some of the local artist groups around New Orleans have been developing as well, because the longer they stay in town to look at art, that's better for the city as well. And I think it's the kind of tourism that maybe a lot of people, when they go home at the end of Prospect One, they'll be thinking about the architecture, they'll be thinking about the history of the city, maybe thinking about some of the museums and community art associations they met along the way. And we want long-term relationships to be established to the art collectors around the country and around the world, some of the philanthropists, and just people who love art. Because if you love art, you're going to love New Orleans.
Right. Well, speaking of the art, it's contemporary art.
It's all contemporary.
All contemporary. And so could you just sort of throw out some names of the artists coming in and where they're coming in from?
Well, if you recognize names in contemporary art, William Kentridge, who's from South Africa and one of the great handmade animation artists of our time. He's showing a new work in the exhibition. Shirin Nishat from Iran, who's a filmmaker, is going to be participating with a full installation at Newcomb Art Gallery. Mark Bradford from LA. Wageshimutu from New York, Tony Fitzpatrick from Chicago, Trenton Doyle Hancock from Houston, a whole slew of artists from Berlin. We have 4 or 5 artists just from Brazil alone. So everybody's come to New Orleans to get ready for their projects. Everybody, when they accepted the invitation, came here and spent a few days.
Already?
Oh, they've all been making site visits. We've hosted like 62 artists over the last 12 months, and every one of them went away from New Orleans saying, "This is an amazing city. This is one of the most exciting and beautiful cities in the world," and they're giving us some extraordinary proposals. So we're very, very happy.
That's great. That's wonderful. Well, so let's bring it back to New Orleans. And why New Orleans? I mean, I know why New Orleans, but my readers are from all over the country and now all over the world.
Sure.
Why New Orleans, and why? And this is a big deal, and so let's sort of end with that.
Well, the United States doesn't have a big international biennial. We're one of the few industrialized countries, and since
where are the big ones around the world?
Well, the big ones, Shanghai has very quickly grown into one of the big ones in the world. Berlin has a biennial. The original was in Venice. Istanbul, Lyon, Taipei, Singapore, they all have biennials.
So New Orleans is going to be sort of on that level of all of these great art destinations around the world.
Well, I think that actually New Orleans has a little bit maybe better or more convincing claim to a biennial, because a lot of people want to come to New Orleans. They really want to stay here, learn about the city and how it's rebuilding itself after Katrina. But not everybody loves jazz, and not everybody loves carnival. We don't understand that, but there are some people. But there are really thousands of people now, and tens of thousands, who go to these big contemporary art events. And the reason why we're trying to scale it up so much is, we want them to come here. We want their presence to symbolize the city kind of renewing itself, and the world's recognizing New Orleans for its beauty and for its what's the word? It's indispensable aspects.
Well, another word to describe it is the word that you used earlier, which was delicious, because you said that where in other parts of the world you experience life one dimension, one perception at a time, and I think that that's such a great analogy to contemporary art at large, because it can be experienced in a lot of different ways.
That's true.
So I guess just before I feed you, before we make this an official food show, just tell us, how New Orleans, how you experience New Orleans.
Well, New Orleans used to always be my escape. It used to be where I would get away from my rough, demanding career in New York and come down here and let off a little steam. I like to think that I was letting off steam in a culturally directed kind of way. I mean, I fell in love with New Orleans through the music, because live music and the way live music happens in New Orleans is just remarkable. It's like no other place in New York, and I mean in the country. And I'm from New York, and I've been going to concerts all my life, but in New Orleans, it's just different. So the kind of the pleasure and the deliciousness of the city, I make sure that I see a lot of live music here, and I make sure I eat a lot of New Orleans food. I don't own a car, so I do something which a lot of y'all don't do, which is I like to stroll down the streets, and just see what's happening out there. It's a very, very visually engaging city with beautiful light. So if you just want to appreciate New Orleans almost any hour of the day, it's right there for the picking.
So again, the name?
Prospect New Orleans.
Prospect New Orleans, and prospectneworleans.com.
.org. We're a nonprofit organization.
We'll probably flash that across the bottom of the screen.
That's right.
And the dates?
We open Halloween weekend, but to the public, the ribbon cutting is at noon on Saturday, November 1st, and then the whole thing is open to everybody.
And you're doing a big gala and big event?
We have bought out Antoine's Restaurant for Halloween night.
Wow.
So for the high rollers
so you're
in the
going to be in
group,
the quarter Halloween night.
We'll be in the quarter eating some amazing food on Halloween night. And when they get out of the restaurant, we're just going to send them down to Frenchmen Street so they can join the festivities.
Perfect.
They don't need to go to a party. No. The party will find them.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for this.
You're welcome.
I am a food blogger, as you all know. And we are going to make this a food show, even though it's not really. So what I have brought Dan is something that you are all very familiar with, Sucre chocolates, and I brought two flavors. I brought you actually the whole New Orleans collection that you can take with you to go.
Thank you.
But I chose two of my favorites. One is brown butter
Brown butter.
And one is Bananas Foster.
Oh my gosh.
So you can try them both on camera, and I'll eat them with you. But these are sort of art pieces in themselves.
They are. They're unique.
So let's give them a little shot there.
Look at that.
This is the Blanchet, which is a Bananas Foster white chocolate ganache. And this is the Mounerie, and it's brown butter cream. And so,
wow.
Try them both, or try.
And which one is this?
This is the brown butter.
This is the brown butter.
So I'll try one with you.
That's unbelievable.
God, I've eaten these so many times, and they're delicious.
Talk about pleasure coming at you from all your senses.
That's right. You want to try the Blanchet?
Oh boy, do I ever.
This is Bananas Foster.
Bananas Foster.
In a bite.
It is Bananas Foster.
That's right.
How do they do that?
Magic. So, again, I really appreciate this, and I'm sure we'll be talking again.
Thank you. I'm
And
sure we will
for more
too.
information,
Especially
you
if you have Bananas Foster to feed me on.
Right, I will
anytime.
always have food to feed you. So, I will have information on my blog, or you could go to prospectneworleans.org for any information and come to New Orleans and experience this. And we will see you soon. Bye, guys.